Hi, my name is Lauren. Hopefully this is a little bit better. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see the book and the camera without them overlapping at any point. Right now I'm going to read Sofia Valdez Sofia Valdez Future Prez. Hopefully I can finish this in 5 minutes so it doesn't cut off and go into a second video, but worst case scenario, we'll do that. No big deal. All right. Does this every time. City Hall. Make sure I didn't miss anything on this page. Okay. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly friends around Blue River Creek who couldn't get out and about on their own and with no place to gather were stuck home alone. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk, Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people like good, but Sofia liked better. Each morning, Abuelo walked Sofia to class. They walked home again along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl, except for that Tuesday when Pup saw the squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and around. Sofia scrambled to try to keep up with the hollering man and the bellowing Pup. Up the squirrel ran to the top of a hill, made of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip-top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on an moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. Ouch! Cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. A dangerous mess, he said, grasping her hand. The next day Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her Abuelo. This is not right, declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. The very next morning at dawn, she planted a sign at the front of the lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. Get rid of Mount Trashmore. Let's build a new park. Each of her neighbors had something to say about benches and fountains and places to play, meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by 1/4 till dark. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then, bam, she woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, let us know when it's done. They all thought Sofia could build it alone, but how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache, as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm, and the gloomy sky wept, and the heartsick Sofia finally slept. Abuelo baked cookies, and Sophie got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked back a tear as he hugged Sofia. For courage, he whispered, Te amo, mi vida. Sofia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. Oops, my apologies. Okay, so let's go back to City Hall. Come on. Sorry. The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue River Creek Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the office of duck ponds and cool things to do, to the office of monkeys, the department of cheese, the division of fountains and meetings and bees, then down to the basement, so musty and cramped, where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped, and that's where the clerk said what no one else did. You can't build a new park, you're only a kid. The word smacked Sofia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. Said Sofia, I think that law is wrong, but her second-grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, clearly, it cannot be done. Do you have any questions? Sofia said 1. If you were me, and if I was you, and he was your grandpa, what would you do? Well, said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought, and she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. All right, so I think I'm going to run out of time, so I'll just make a second part of this video, but that's all good. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophie speak, but her words jumbled up and her cheeks turned bright red as a dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sofia leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack, and that was the moment when